One night I woke up to find my elder brother arguing with his wife. I had never seen him quarrel with her like this before. He's usually such a gentle soul. But I didn't know why he was saying all those absurd things to her, and she was just crying quietly. That very day she had shared some very joyful news with all of us. 2 weeks after this incident, one night I noticed that my wife was not in our room. It was unusual for her to go out at night because she was quite fearful. I searched around, but couldn't find her in the bedroom. Either I saw that the main gate of our house was open. We have a large house, and it was not a good sign to see the main gate open so late at night. I had to hide near the gate. Because of the circumstances, I saw my mother forcefully making my wife sit in the car, but she was reluctant to go. She was pleased. "What are you doing, mother? Where are you taking me? Please don't do this. I am your son's trust. What would he do if he knew about this? I won't go, mother." Additionally, I was shocked to see that my wife was wearing a very unusual outfit. Normally, she looked beautiful in such clothes, but where was my mother taking her dress like this? This type of attire is meant only for a woman to wear in front of her husband, and in our Islam, wearing such clothes in public is a major sin. If a woman does so, it brings shame to the others present. Before I could confront them, they left. I then took my car and started following them, and the scene one witnessed next left me dumbfounded. I could never have imagined my own mother would do something like this. My wife was Our family is quite large. My name is Amin, and I am one of the youngest sons among 7 brothers. Similarly, my father also had 6 brothers. Presently, they all have their own homes. My mother was the 3rd wife in our family and was the most educated and came from a high lineage, which is why she was highly respected and well cared for by everyone, since she was also very beautiful. My father has passed away, but he left us a large house and a business, and currently we are the most well-off in our lineage. Everyone respected us, but as they say, you can't have everything in one life, right? Our family faced the same issue. No children were born in our family. My 4 elder brothers were married, but none had children, and today was also my wedding day. People had advised my mother, and she tried everything. Someone told her that overweight women do not have children. My elder sister-in-law was slightly overweight, which is why my mother started looking for a slim girl for me. We're not allowed to marry according to our own choice. We had always done what our mother said all our lives. All the businesses, properties, and income sources were controlled by our mother. Nurjan Biem. We neither had the courage to speak in front of her, nor the capability. My mother was also very quick-tempered. My mother was not a bad person, but even amidst countless good qualities, some bad ones can exist that might not seem harmful at first, but can ruin lives. My mother never lied or deceived anyone. She was not greedy and was quite religious. However, she had one issue: she was always in a hurry. She rushed the marriages of all her sons. If a sister-in-law did not become pregnant within 7 months of marriage, she would hastily arrange another brother's wedding. If a pregnancy did not occur after 5 months, she would label that sister-in-law as barren. This went on until it was my turn to get married. I had just completed my final exams a week before. Having seen the plight of my other brothers, I did not want to marry, but then Sonia entered my life. She was a wonderful girl around my age without any faults. She was young, not overweight, and was beautiful, and from a good family. Before the wedding, my mother had Sonia undergo some tests which neither Sonia nor her family seemed to object to. However, I strongly disapproved. Was this a marriage or a livestock trade that required tests? But her family did not take it too badly, and I did not confront my mother about it either. Nonetheless, Sonia became part of my life. She had been in our home for 3 months and had not yet brought any good news. My mother used to torture, scold, and taunt all the wives in our house whenever we brothers came home from work. Our wives were never in a good mood. There was no habit of raising voices or hearing arguments from any room in our house, but we could tell by looking at everyone's faces that no one was happy. My mother used to say that despite our success, wealth, beauty, virtues, and fortune, people would sideline all that and say all the daughters-in-law in your house are barren. If I tried to reason with her, she would start saying the eldest daughter-in-law has no children, the youngest has no children, this one has no children, that one has no children. I'm tired of hearing these questions, but I had never been in such a situation where she could point a finger at me. One day at the dining table, she shocked us by saying, "I think I've been striking at the wrong place. Maybe the problem lies among you brothers. Tomorrow you will all come with me to the hospital." We brothers looked at her in astonishment while eating because she was talking about us, not the wives. The next day she took us to the hospital and had various tests done on us. She never told anyone what the report said. When the middle brother Asked. She said everything was fine, but it seemed she knew more and chose not to tell. After that, her behavior towards our wives changed slightly. One day my wife told me it's been 2 weeks, and in these 2 weeks mother hasn't said to any sister-in-law or me, why aren't any of you children? Instead, she took us shopping today and even bought us new clothes for the winter. I said everyone realizes their mistakes eventually in this house. There have been 5 marriages so far, but no one has had children yet. One day my wife told me I'm very tired today. According to routine, it was my sister-in-law's turn to do the household chores, but she had gone to her parents' home, so all the work fell to my wife. I said okay, maybe there was some issue at her home. Such things happen in every family from time to time. My wife used to share everything with me, and her words were always concise, but I never imagined that through her few words I would one day learn about such a major ongoing issue in our house. A week later, my elder sister-in-law gave us the happy news that she was pregnant. She was the first wife to join our household and often blamed for being overweight. As people said, overweight women do not have children. That's why she hadn't conceived until now. While she shared the good news, there was no joy on her face. My brother was very happy, and so was my mother. We all were thrilled, because finally a new life was about to join our family, a child who would be dearly loved, whether a boy or a girl. For a while my mother's attention would shift to this new life, and perhaps she would ease up on us. But just 2 days after sharing the good news, my sister-in-law became so ill that we had to admit her to the hospital. I didn't talk much about their affairs, but in passing conversations I learned that her condition was due to trauma. What nonsense! She was about to become a mother. She should have been the happiest if seen from the perspective of the first daughter-in-law about to give birth in this house. Her honor would increase. So why was my sister-in-law traumatized? I knew my sister-in-law's family well, because her brother was my friend. There hadn't been any issues in their home that could cause her such stress. So what was troubling my sister-in-law? She remained in the hospital for 4 days. The doctor said the baby is not at risk. However, the mother needs a lot of care. Do not speak loudly to her, do not argue with her, and do not stress her. My mother responded, we will treat her like a queen. Don't worry. We brought my sister-in-law home, but that very night my brother had a fierce argument with her. He wasn't ignorant enough to fight with her, especially after the doctor had advised against it. I had just woken up and was in the kitchen. I could clearly hear their argument, and her room was right next to the kitchen. My brother exclaimed, are you a child that anyone who asks you to go somewhere you just follow? You have committed such a big sin, and now you say you are not at fault. I will not keep you in my life anymore. Do you understand? I was shocked to hear this. Why was my brother saying all these things? What sin had my sister-in-law committed that he wanted to leave her, especially just after finding out he was going to be a father? He was supposed to be the most understanding and tolerant among us. How could he berate her, talk about leaving her, especially at a moment when she was about to become a mother? It seemed as if my brother believed she had committed some grave offense. But what could have happened suddenly that he treated her so harshly? My sister-in-law was only crying and kept repeating, I did nothing wrong. Believe me, I did nothing wrong. What else could I have done? I went back to my room. I was very tense.